Right. Yeah. More Jesse. He's upset someone else now. Another person yeah, I'm guessing walks because it's called We're Gonna End This Interview. This conversation just went south. So yeah, another one on Jesse's hit list. But yeah, let's go.
Let me ask, as a man, and I find it really odd as a male because I didn't grow up seeing this. It's
Yeah,
odd to me to see black men begging for reparation and crying about systemic racism or
who's begging?
or or blaming white people for their downfall. Normally, men overcome situations and the women and children follow. But the black men are acting just like the black women, and they are acting like the white man is smarter than them, that the white man can do better than them. So by complaining and blaming, you're hurting yourself rather than coming together as an
So,
American
so I'm
people
gonna stop you right
and
now
put
because I'm gonna
forward
say
that
this one
effort.
more time. And if
It's
you
not
don't get this, we're
attractive
gonna
to
end this
see
interview.
men complain
I'm
like
gonna do
that.
this one more time for you, and if you don't get this, we can end this interview. You're not listening. You keep saying the same thing over again, and I don't go in circles.
Do you
I
feel
didn't grow
normal?
this
Does it
organization.
feel right to
No
be
one's
complaining?
complaining. No one's blaming.
You
We haven't
complain
complained
about
once. We
systemic
haven't blamed
racism and
anyone.
you want
There's no
reparations.
downfall. We're not begging for reparations.
You
We've
do want
already
reparations.
outlined what the steps are to get reparations. The
But
steps to get
but
reparations, and I've taught on this. You can't pay reparations to a color. You can only pay reparations to a country. I've already taught on this, that black people in this country need to stop asking for something that can't be paid to them in their current state. I've taught on this. I've told them that once you decide to declare yourself a sovereign, liberated country, then you can petition for reparations. So I'm not begging. We haven't begged for a damn thing because we haven't even taken the first step to put us in a position for black people to get reparations. So no one's begging. Additionally, there's been no downfall here. You've seen the NFAC. We're fully equipped. We're well dressed. We
that's
all
what
have
throws
good
me
jobs. We're
off.
all
If you guys
law-abiding
can dress
citizens.
up like
We're all
that,
veterans of this country. We are all people.
I
We're
know,
not
but
the people in the streets that you're talking about. We're the actual responsible homeowners, gun owners, and voters that got together under the Constitution and formed a militia to address what we saw happening to our communities.
so
We're
rather
not complaining. We're not asking for anything. The people you're talking about are the people you see protesting in the streets right now. We don't protest. The people you're talking about are the ones out destroying, like Antifa and Black Lives Matter. We don't do that. The ones you're talking about are the ones who are running up on politicians but who never vote. You're not talking about us. We're the other side.
I
I'm
know,
just
but
like you, my friend. I'm almost 60 years old. I'm not a child at this, and I've been around.
Because he seems like he's pretty much saying he agrees with Jesse, but why is he so angry about it?
This world for quite a few
but
times to
what you're
understand.
missing, hold on.
We're not asking, we're not begging, we're actually taking the steps under the law that we can to move ourselves into a position to get the things that we can get for ourselves, even if it means going somewhere else to establish our own ethno nation, not here in the United States, but somewhere else where we've had a conversation with two countries willing to grant us sovereign land to grow our own country.
But if
That's our mission. Our
you
mission is
can't
not to
do it
ask the white
here,
man for anything.
if you can't do it here, you won't be able to do it anywhere.
And if you've got two countries willing to give you land, why aren't you there being a sovereign state? And if you think that becoming a sovereign country is going to get you reparations off of America, like that's probably like not going to, well, it's not going to happen anyway, but it's definitely not going to happen then. But if you got, this is what my problem is with people that in America or over here that talk about the country being racist and the country holding them back. It's like, you don't have to be here. Like, you would have a point if someone was holding your gun to your head and saying you have to stay in. But I don't understand. Like, and if you actually have countries that are willing to give you land and make you a sovereign thing, then why aren't you just there doing it? I mean, maybe he is, but it don't seem like it.
It's
because
already
there's
been
no
done.
other country that's greater than America. But what I just want to say, when you're crying systemic racism and this and that and the white man this, you're feeding you're deceiving the people rather than helping them. But what I want to ask you, you guys are complaining about George Floyd and these black people who are getting killed or hurt by cops. You're not encouraging these people when the cops stop you. Follow the instructions. Don't run. Don't attack the cops. These people are putting their own lives on the line. But I never hear you people say that. You guys blame the cops,
First of
but
all,
you
I'm
don't
going to say this
blame.
one last time. I don't know who your producers are, but if you call me you people one more time, you and I are going to have this conversation in person. I'm not you people.
No, what I mean is
No,
why
I
you
don't want
got
to hear that
the
anymore,
black
Jesse. That is a racial microaggression. I don't play that,
the
bro. I don't play that,
NFAC.
bro. No. The conversation just went south.
But what I'm
I'm
trying to
not built
find,
like them.
if you want, let's say you want to help me, you want to encourage me, right? You want,
Sit there.
To say like you're not with Black Lives Matter and you're not with Antifa and you're not them people, but then you use a term like microaggression. Like, what the fuck even is that shit? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, I know what he's saying by using that term, like with saying you people, but that's like a term. It's the same as the term gaslighting. It's a certain ideology um that uses that, and it is the ideology of Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and yada yada yada. Like, it's microaggression. When was the earliest use of microaggression? I never heard that ever in my life until recently. Like, you got passive, like yeah, passive aggressive or aggressive aggressive, microaggression. But yeah,
And
you want,
lie.
let me just finish
Brother
that.
man, don't sit here and lie to another black man. Don't do that.
I know, but let me ask.
You said, don't put words in our mouth. I never said any of those things you said, and we do go out and encourage those things. I'm actually lined up with you right now. Everything you're saying, we've actually done. But for you to sit here and say it as if it doesn't exist, you insult me and you insult my organization.
So have you said out loud that George Floyd was a thug, he was a criminal, he was high, he was on drugs, and the reason that it appears that the reason he died,
It's not my
not
position to
because,
speak on the
not
character
because
of
of
George
the,
Floyd.
hold on, you're
It is
interrupting.
not
Hold
our
on a minute.
position to
Hold
sit
on.
here and
I haven't
speak
asked
on
the
the
question
character
yet.
of George Floyd.
You're speaking over me. Hold on. Instead of saying to black people, hey, don't get high, don't commit crime. When the cops stop you, let George Floyd be an example of what not to be. That's not what decent people do. Have you encouraged blacks in that way?
We've actually encouraged people to learn the law as we work inside of the law, which is what we do. Everything we do is within the context of the law. We've encouraged people to use us as an example. I've given long, lengthy speeches on your constitutional rights, your Miranda rights. I've never sat and talked about the character of any one of the victims of police brutality. The same way I don't sit down and talk about the character of the police officers. I don't get into the personages. I get into the institution. I get into the practices and the institution that exists in the culture that leads to both these people, particular people acting the way they do. The police culture, and as you so eloquently said, those people who are either, I don't want to say illiterate, but who may be ignorant to the law themselves and not know how to respond when they're placed into those systems. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I've encouraged that both ways, but it is not my job, nor is it is our position to sit and begin to classify or begin to deify one of these particular people. We don't dig into the weeds. We're not messy like that. We look at the incident itself and the circumstance.
but then that's what I mean. Like, you are removing a lot, because the thing is with the George Floyd thing, he was high, he was all of that, and by all accounts, like, I know a lot of people, because I do think the police killed that man. Like, if not, they didn't kill him, then it's like they called for medical whatever, but still laid him on his front. Like, you just don't do that. Like, especially not put pressure on their chest when you know, like, you already called medical assistance someone that you know is saying that you can't breathe. Like, it's just, and the fact that you stayed on him so long, there's a lot of things that maybe if, like, maybe he'd have died anyway. But yeah, that whole interaction is crazy. But you have to get in to. You can't just take the incident and say this is the incident and this is what it is. You have to go into the details of what actually happened, because some, like Jesse said, sometimes people are um like in the George Floyd thing, where they were saying he, like, the way they painted him in the media was that he was this innocent bloke going about his life, and it wasn't true. Do you know what I mean? And they said he wasn't resisting. Well, he was resisting arrest. You can watch him, and actually, to be honest, the police was very kind of good with him resisting arrest too. Like, they let him sit down when he wanted to, blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, that's a kind, like, you have to get into the character of the person, and um, because it not everybody's the same, and not everybody reacts in the situation the same. Not everybody does. Do you know what I mean? So you have to get into the characters and blah 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 to actually help you understand what actually happened in that moment. Like, yeah, but that's it. I'm kind of on the side that um like, they've people said it was the drugs in George Floyd's system that killed him, but like, they kind of, it was just weird. It was too long to hold someone down. Now, you can call it, I'd give you that maybe it's manslaughter, and maybe it wasn't intentional. Um, but like, you like laying someone on their front that you've already called for medical assistance to help, and you lay him on his, not just lay him on his front, but lay him on his front for that long too. Like, it's just like, that's just something you don't do. Um, And that's what I mean. You need to get into all them things, and you need to have a fair thing of, like, yes, he was resisting arrest, blah blah blah. He was on drugs and blah blah blah. But that doesn't mean he deserves to die. And yeah, yeah. Anyway, this guy.
That created it and the laws that allowed it to happen, and what we can do to encourage people on both ends, so that you need to educate yourself and you need to modify your practices. We're in the middle.
Let me ask, if black people got married and fathers and mothers set example for their children, love what's right with all their heart, soul, and might, work hard, taught their kids to work, invest in land, and be responsible, and treat all people the same, would black people be in the mess that they're in today?
The mess that black people are in today is the result of 246
No,
years
I
of
ask you, if
enslavement.
they did that, would they be in that mess?
I'm going to answer your question.
Right there, he just did what he said he doesn't do. Blaming the white man. I don't blame the white man. He got all very angry about that. I'm not one of them people that blames the white man, blah blah blah. Literally just blame the white man for the situation that black people are in. Right. Now, there may be some truth, but you are literally just doing what a few minutes ago you said you don't do. You're doing. It's slavery. Everything's slavery. I watched a fat Indian woman talk about how Britain conquering India is the reason why she's fat. Like, people blame white people for anything, like, if you're like a minority or anything. But it's just, yeah, you literally just did what you just said you don't do, is blame the reason why we're in the situation we're in is because of 246 years of slavery. It's like, that's blaming that. Now, you may be right. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not saying you're like, I'm not getting into whether that's true or false, but you are blaming the white man. Literally right there, you're blaming the white man. But yeah, let's go.
I'm prepositioning as I speak. And since you said, would they be in the mess that they're in? The mess that they're in today is because of, yes, what you just said, there are no more blueprints. You did a great job. I like the way you said that. There's also been, as I said before, deterioration of what we used to have, which was unity. We were more unified when we came out of the civil rights movement. We were more unified when we came out of slavery because we were all we had. We were more unified. Then the unity has been destroyed. So yes, I believe that if people saw the blueprints, just as you said before, if they saw what a black man and a black woman union actually looked like, if they saw that the fruits of getting an education and, getting a good job and being a responsible citizen and being knowledgeable about politics and things of that nature, then yes, then they could begin to pull themselves out. But the problem is they can't pull themselves out internally because people don't want to acknowledge the external conditions, that the bubble that's been built around them by the society that they live in.
It's not true. See, that's why I disagree with you. There is no wall there. It's an illusion. And the angry black people think that there's a wall. There is no wall. When
you say angry black people.
Yeah, when you're angry, when you're angry,
is an emotion.
When you're angry, there seems to be a wall there, but it's not, and it's abnormal for men to be angry.
Let me ask you a question.
Let me finish this, and then I'll let you ask a question. Let me just say this first. I disagree with you that black people. I know, but let me say it. I'll let you. I'll let you answer the question.
Let me ask you a question.
I know, but let me say this.
Don't be afraid of my question, Jesse.
I'm not. I'll let you ask. But you said one thing that's not.
He literally just said you can ask your question after all. Let me just say this, and you can ask your question. And then this guy is angry. Like, he's very emotionally triggered by a lot of the things he's like Jesse's saying, and it's like that's kind of Jesse's point, is that you're like not that that you shouldn't be angry. Basically, I can't remember. It's like some mystic religious person like Dalai Lama or something, where someone said to him, "What's one thing I can?" It might even have been Muhammad. Yeah, but what's one thing I can do? One thing that you can teach me to do that will improve my life. And he said, "Yeah, don't ever get angry again." And if you think about it, it's so true. Although it's hard, because like he said, it is an emotion, and it's an emotion that gets triggered, but you got to be able to, do your best to control it. But no one's perfect. But yeah, this guy is like, he's like a shake can of fizzy drink, just ready to explode at any point. Do you know what I mean?
Black people were more united before.
I went from being a presidential candidate to leading what some people think is a black revolutionary organization.
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
How do you think someone who aspired to the office of the presidency went from that particular mentality to being the head of what many consider now to be a black revolutionary organization?
I don't know. How did that happen? I have no idea. I wonder. How did that happen?
I'm asking you that question.
I don't know how to happen. I'm surprised that I don't know what happened.
Well, the very first thing the reason I asked you that is because you keep talking about this angry group. And there is no angry.
Well, not just your group. I'm talking about most black people in general, not just your group.
Characterize this for your audience as if we're angry.
No, not just your group.
There's no one here that's angry. We're exercising our constitutional rights.
But I'm not just talking about your group. I'm talking about most, not all, but most black people in general are angry.
About my organization. The NFAC is not a bunch of angry people.
I said most, not all, man. I'm not talking about just.
That's quite a funny way to say that. We are not a bunch of angry people. That's pretty angry, bro.
See, I don't tolerate that either. If anyone has a personal issue, if anyone has an axe to grind, if anyone is angry, as you said, they can't be a part of this organization. You won't make it through our vetting process. So we're not an angry group.
He's definitely angry. Like, I don't know what world he lives in where he thinks that's not angry, or that maybe he just thinks that it's a case that he's justified in his anger. Like I say, I'm not saying that what he's saying is wrong, but to be honest, if you want my opinion on the black situation, which I don't think is necessarily the black situation. Really, it goes across not every race, but definitely white people too. But if you want to know what my like, and I would have never said it when I was younger, but it's the music. Take hip hop, where you go back to the start of hip hop, and it was really NWA that made it gangster rap, and then people fueled, I should say, people, record companies fueled the gangster rap thing to the point where everybody wants to be a gangster rapper. Then you got something like the drill that come along. Now, drill, you can say like hip hop had a bad thing all the time, which yeah, there once it kind of got gangster rap, then yeah, I think a lot of people done things because of gangster rap that they wouldn't have done if they'd never heard gangster rap, because people want to hear it and want to be a gangster. But right this second, the worst thing that's happening to young people is drill music. Because if you go, there is not a place in the Western world that is not affected by postcode wars. It's in Australia, it's over here, it's everywhere. Like everywhere has postcode wars. And that is directly from drill and directly from Chicago. Like literally. Like that is what, but then there's plenty of people that will listen to that music and never do crime. So it's, you can't just base it on that. And I mean, there's always historical things that's gonna, um, but it doesn't have a big as effect as you're making it out to be, because they're like, there's crazy successful black people in America, ridiculously successful. Like, where was the things holding them back? That's what, like, my whole life I was always I thought the kind of the same thing about what, like, it's a working class thought that you're being held back, but then you're really not. The only thing really that's holding you back in life is you, and people don't want to actually admit that to themselves, but that's the truth of it. The biggest thing that's gonna stop you doing anything in life is yourself, literally. But he was definitely angry. Like, yeah, to say, and I did think that was funny to say, we don't blame the white man. We don't blame. And it's like, well, you are still blaming him. You're just kind of not necessarily putting it in white, but you're saying slavery. Like I say, like, you can see people blame, um, but literally every country in the world has been conquered and conquered. Every country has done bad things to other countries. It's just, yeah, to just put that on like Britain. But I think Britain is only gets such a bad rap because they was the last ones to do it. So it's just kind of fresh in people's minds. And you probably are still seeing the effects of what was done then. Like, I'm not even saying that that's not true. But to say it has such a big effect on you that, yeah, that's what's holding you back in life is crazy. That's just an excuse, because there's look at someone like 50 Cent. 50 Cent, but like I say, before the drill scene, because the drill scene and that type of gang culture is literally just about violence. But you look at someone like 50 Cent. 50 Cent come from arguably one of the worst backgrounds possible in America, and he's now one of the richest people in the world. There was nothing holding him back. There was nothing holding Jay-Z back, Oprah. The list, even this guy, I can guarantee you, he's got money. Right? It's fun. It's a funny thing. It's like they said about Eric Clapton, that Eric Clapton is a man the irony of a man playing blues in a Gucci suit is kind of, yeah, it's like a kind of an oxymoron. And when people stand there and they're overweight, they're dressed in clothes that are worth thousands, they've got jewelry on, but yet then they stand there and say, I'm so oppressed. Really? If that's what oppression looks like, then yeah, I'll have a bit. But yeah, this guy was definitely angry, very, very angry man. And he, like, for someone that was agreeing with Jesse, he did certainly got very angry at him. Yeah, but yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.